let's talk about buying a sample gown off the rack. So if you didn't know by now, when you walk into a bridal store, whether you see wedding gowns that are on mannequins or you see all the gowns that are hanging on the racks, just know that when you walk into that store, it is a show floor. Okay, that means that every gown that is displayed is a model or what's called a sample. The sample usually, I would say some bridal stores, they do sell those samples that you can get. So just know that the samples that are on the show floor, they've been tried on by brides, right? Because the boutiques have to order these gowns from the designers so they can display it so you can have something to try on. Once you have your wonderful experience with the bridal consultant and you say yes to the dress, typically what happens is that the bridal consultant will order your dress from that model. You don't necessarily take that model from the show floor. You don't take that model home with you. Although sometimes there are other stores as well that do sell those sample gowns. But you do have to know that these sample gowns, most of the time they are heavily damaged. We have had lots of brides that have come in and they brought their gown that was a sample gown because after time the bridal stores will sell them because they're either what they consider damaged beyond repair, which, you know, for us, nothing is almost really damaged beyond repair. It's just how do we want to repair it because it will turn out different. Because they want to get rid of that gown, they want to replace that gown so that way they have a new clean sample or model for new brides that come in that they can try a nice clean dress and they can see in detail of what the original gown's supposed to look like because it's not all tattered and falling apart. Other times the wedding dress designers have discontinued that model. They're no longer making that design anymore, so it makes no sense for the bridal stores to carry that sample dress because you can't order it anymore. So when you buy a gown that is considered sample or off the rack, lots of times you can get a really hefty discount, but then you kind of have to make up for it paying the seamstress or tailor to fix it for you. And what I want to say here is that buying a sample gown off the rack or like a pre-owned or pre-loved is what they call sometimes the wedding gowns, it comes with its own set of challenges and it may complicate the process of the alterations altogether. So there's lots of things sometimes that like costs, extra costs, I should say, that come up that you weren't really expecting. So for example, like let's say you do all your alterations first and then the next step is once you take your gown home because you're satisfied with the alterations and then you go take it to get dry cleaned, things are going to change. Like it's unfortunate, but it's kind of like in the wash of the dry clean, you know, your gown is very likely going to shrink. And we've seen it happen time and time again with lots of our brides. So we always tell our brides, if you bought a gown off the rack, then get it dry clean first because whatever's going to happen in that dry cleaning process, it's going to make those permanent changes first. And then based upon that, then the alteration should be made. So that's kind of the complications that can come with that process. And I know you might have heard in the industry where, you know, other bridal consultants or whoever else is telling you, no, get your alterations first, then go get it dry clean. No, I'm telling you from tons of experience as a professional seamstress and doing this in my business for over 2 decades, working in the industry, that you need to have the permanent change to the dress first through the dry cleaning because it's going to get rid of all the dirt and oil or whatever. And then as the seamstress, we can figure out how to put it all back together in the way that it should be according to how it fits you now since it's been dry cleaned. So more specifically on the dry cleaning, it needs to happen before alterations. So if you can relate to this episode or if you have some wedding dress dilemma of your own, put it down in the comments below. Or if you have a very specific question that you need answering, you can go to seamstressandthebride.com and submit your question there. And be sure to stay tuned because your question could be featured on an upcoming episode.